Today's video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for the curious and the creative. Millions of members visit this video workshop platform to learn everything from illustration and design to video and photography, and even how to get organized and be more productive. Skillshare has classes to fit your schedule and your skill level, no matter where you are on your creative journey. When you sign up for Skillshare, you get access to thousands of classes that you can take anytime and anywhere for less than $10 a month when you upgrade to the premium membership. If you're ready to explore new skills, deepen your existing passions, and get lost in your own creativity, start your membership today. The first 1,000 subscribers to click the Skillshare link down in the description will get a free trial of the Skillshare premium membership. Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome, come on in. Why do melons have weddings? Because they cantaloupe. Get it, cantaloupe? You got it. Here at TL Yarn Crafts, I show my crochet love through free patterns, product reviews, and technique videos that will blow your mind. So if you're here for all of that, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. I've had my YouTube channel for a while and I just realized I've never really taken the time for you guys to get to know me and for me to get to know you. So it is time to change that. I put up a post asking folks to ask me questions and I told y'all not to hold back, and boy, did you not hold back. So I thought it would be fun to do a little get to know me and kind of tie it in with a crochet with me. And I hope you'll take a little crochet break with me today. It'll be a fun opportunity to just relax and spend some time together, so be sure to grab a project. Today I'll be starting a new sample of my Josie shawl. This is one of my OG patterns. It's been around forever. It's made with worsted weight cotton, which I love and it's beautiful, but I wanted to try something a little bit lighter weight. So I'm using Cotton Kings Twirls, which is available from Hobie. This is a category 2 sport weight 100% cotton in one of those beautiful color changing cakes. This will be my first time working with one of these, so I'm really excited to give it a try. For a hook, I'll be using my 4mm hook. This is a Bee Queen Collection blend hook. These hooks are fantastic. Make sure you look into them if you want to treat yourself. I've got an audiobook I'll be listening to, The Huntress by Kate Quinn. I'm about 30% into it and it is really good so far. I've also got some tea, so without further ado, I'll kick it over to VoiceOver Tony and get started on my project. Hey friends, Tony here. I hope you got your projects going and I'm going to jump right into these questions. The first one comes from Creations by Court. She says, you are one of my inspirations as a crochet designer. I would love to learn more about your transition from what you did before to designing and teaching full-time. How long was that transition? What did you wish you knew before you decided to do this full-time? And what's the most challenging part of being a full-time crochet designer? This is a great question, Court, and thank you so much. So I'm going to give you the short version of kind of the TL Yarn Crafts origin story. I got married in 2010, moved to Ohio, and things were just a little bit rocky in general in my life. I was fresh out of grad school, couldn't find a job in a new state, in a new marriage, and I needed something to kind of ground me. So in a very roundabout way, I picked up crochet and started making things for friends and family. Eventually, they very kindly said they had enough hats and scarves, so I decided to start selling my things at craft shows and on Etsy. A lot of people purchased things, which was awesome, but I had people coming up asking about the patterns for the things that I was selling, and I didn't really consider at the time that people would want to make things that I've already made. I thought they just want to buy them. So eventually I did get into pattern writing, and going to the digital side of crafting was really the windfall for me. Eventually it just got to the point where TL Yarn Crafts was doing really well. I wanted to work with some different brands and do some fun and exciting things, but my day job at the time was very demanding and there was an opportunity for a promotion. So I had a difficult decision to make, either continue with my day job or pursue crafting full-time. It ended up not being actually a difficult decision for me, so I ended up putting in my notice for my day job, and it took about 5 years from creating TL Yarn Crafts until I went full-time, so from 2013 to 2017. The only thing I wish I knew before I decided to do this full-time is that you can't follow somebody else's footsteps into success. There are a lot of amazing designers and bloggers out there doing pretty much the exact thing that I wanted to do before I went full-time, and I studied them and I was like, well, if I do this, then I'll be able to have this, and if I do this, I can work with this company. And what I found is by being myself and focusing on the things that I love to do in my business, I was able to attract the type of people and the type of companies that I wanted to work with. And what's the most challenging part of being a full-time crochet designer? It's being self-motivated. I love to try new things and I love to dive into things that weren't originally on the to-do list. Sometimes reining myself in and getting back focused, accomplishing things on time can be a bit of a challenge. That's what happens when you're your own boss. You know, it comes with the good things and the bad things. Great question. Thanks so much, Court. This next question comes from Lily Andrews. Lily says, what do you think of the new wave of teenage young adult women interested in crochet? Did you ever expect crochet to become so mainstream? And what advice would you give to creators who are just starting with crochet? I absolutely love this question because I am a huge fan of the wave of younger people who are getting into crochet. I love crochet for crochet's sake. So seeing a generation really take this craft in a completely different direction is super fun to watch. I love the younger generation with craft in general because they don't take themselves too seriously. They don't feel the need to follow any rules, and that fresh perspective is super exciting to me. There's several maker YouTubes that I like to watch, including Anna. I will not try to pronounce her last name, but she's probably my favorite to watch. Also, The Artisan Geek and Allie Nicole. They're fantastic on YouTube, but even seeing folks on Instagram, TikTok, I am here for it. I certainly didn't expect crochet to become so mainstream, but I'm totally happy that it has, and I'm cool with the direction that it's going in. As far as advice for new creators, I would just say make sure you're going into this because you love it and you enjoy it, and not because you're trying to make money off of it, because you will resent it. I promise you. Learn from my mistakes. Let's get to question number 3. This one comes from, and please forgive me if I butcher this, Yaro Njun. They say, is there anything you don't know yet about crocheting and are looking forward to learning? Or maybe something you avoid for a reason? When it comes to learning, I'm always looking to learn new things with crochet. And the main thing that I'm looking to learn is some of the more advanced techniques when it comes to pattern design. So learning things like raglan shaping, or how to properly add a hood, how to put on a kangaroo pocket, those kinds of things that take a project from basic to like, wow. That's what I'm trying to get at. So I know that a lot of that learning comes from actually doing. So maybe I need to make a project with a hood or with a kangaroo pocket. So I'm always looking to grow my skills and just get to that next level when it comes to designing. Something that I avoid for a reason, I know my limits when it comes to the things that I like to do with crochet, and one of those things that I don't like is corner to corner. I think it's very pretty, I think it's very fun, and I think the people who get into it are super excited, but the actual process of traditional corner to corner with double crochet stitches, I just can't do it. So I knew this question was gonna come, and Yarny Qualls Crochet got to it first. She said, okay girl, truth time. We need an update on that sweater you are making for yourself. You can be real with us. This is a no judgment zone. Back in February, I got really excited about the idea of crocheting my first sweater. So I picked up the Granny Go Round Jumper pattern from Iron Lamb, and I got this beautiful cotton from Hobie. Started the sweater, it's going beautifully. I talked about it incessantly, and then I just stopped. The problem is I didn't like the neckline. It was a little too high for what was supposed to be a summer sweater, but there has been an update to this pattern with more of a scoop neck, and I've got some fresh yarn, so I do plan to try this project again. You will see more updates of my Granny Go Round jumper. So here's a fun one from Rochelle Barkum. She says, what are your favorite songs from your teenage years that you still rock out to when nobody else is listening? So my teenage years were all about freedom. I got my license the day that I could. I got my car the moment I had enough money, and I would drive out to Belle Isle in Detroit, sit in the parking lot and sing at the top of my lungs. I loved a good ballad. So here are 5 songs from my teenage years that you need to add to your playlist right now. First is Usher, Let It Burn. Then Alicia Keys, If I Ain't Got You. Mariah Carey, We Belong Together. Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River, and Coldplay's Yellow. If you are a child of the 2000s and have some other recommendations for our ballad playlist, I'll start putting something together in Spotify. Let me know down in the comments. So this next one comes from Piper. Hi, Piper. She said, you're on a desert island and have access to all the tools you need, but can only choose one type of yarn, but have an unlimited supply. What weight and material is that yarn? And there was a reply to this question asking about what is my desert island hook. So I will say anytime I get posed a desert island question, I think of it as my vacation desert island because I don't want to worry about things like survival. So this is what yarn do I want to have for fun and what hooks do I want to have for fun. So the yarn that I would choose would be a DK weight, 100% merino wool, mid to tight twist. And that's just my favorite yarn to use. It runs over my finger so smoothly. I never have issues with splitting. It's available in tons of different colors. And if I'm on a desert island, I don't have to pay for it. So I can use all the colors and all the combinations and have all the pretty things. So that would be my choice. And as far as hooks, if I could only have one set of hooks, it would 100% be the hooks that I'm using right now, my Bee Queen collection blend hooks. These hooks are not cheap, but they are beautiful and they are useful for everything. They've got the Clover Amour tips on them, beautiful hand-turned handle, and I was able to customize the crown on my hook, so I had the very first set of hooks that looked exactly like this, and I love that idea. This question comes to us from Wendy Harrison. Wendy said, do you incorporate your makes into your wardrobe, and why don't you wear them in your videos? Binge watch every video and am now addicted to Tunisian crochet. Thanks so much for your question, Wendy, and I'm glad that you're as addicted to Tunisian crochet as I am. To answer your question, I do incorporate my makes into my wardrobe occasionally. I'm the kind of person that gets more satisfaction out of the making process rather than the using process. So I really enjoy making shawls, but there's only a couple that I actually rotate in and out of my wardrobe, even though I've made dozens over the years. As far as wearing them in my videos, that's actually a really great suggestion. I love wearing my shawls around the house just to kind of have fun in, so I think it would be great to wear them more in my videos. So I'll start doing that. Thanks so much for the recommendation. Our friend Darcy Fritz had a question, and she asked, how do you keep those pretty hands of yours looking so lovely? I'm super jealous. Thank you so much for your question, Darcy, and thanks for noticing. I have a pretty obsessive ritual when it comes to my hands. After I'm done washing my hands, I will follow with the Cocoa Kind scrubbing clay. It's a very mild scrub that's great for the hands. It doesn't dry my hands out. And then I follow that with Bee Queen Collection's Boo Butter. This stuff is extremely hard to find. As soon as she posts it, it sells out. But if you're able to get your hands on some, definitely do. It's a shea butter based balm that's been whipped, so it's a lot lighter and it's really easy to apply. If I don't have Boo Butter sitting around, I'll follow up with either straight up shea butter or I'll use a coconut oil. Then as far as my nails, I love getting my nails done. It's one of the things that I do for myself. So I get my nails done every 2 to 3 weeks at my local salon, of course, staying safe. Here's a fun one from Sarah Bear Crafty. She says, firstly, I'd like to say that you inspired me to try Tunisian crochet for the first time. Your tutorials helped me immensely and your way of speaking is calming. Thank you. That means so much to hear you say. Thank you so much. Her question was, unrelated to crochet, I'm wondering what your favorite thing to cook is. I like to cook, but I do not profess to be the best cook, but I know what I'm good at. And one of my favorite things to cook and eat is salmon. So here is my quick and dirty recipe for cooking salmon for people who don't know how to cook salmon. So you'll want to take a salmon fillet that's about 3 inches wide and put it on a greased baking sheet. Set your oven to 400. Brush down the salmon with a little bit of canola oil. Season generously with Lowry seasoned salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Put 1 little square of butter on the fillet and put it in the oven for 12 minutes. When it comes out, it's going to be delicious. It's still going to be meaty. It's going to be about medium to medium well, which you don't have to cook salmon all the way through, which is great. And it will be delicious, even reheated the next day. I love to use this for dinner with asparagus. For lunch, I'll put it on salad. And sometimes with breakfast, I will put it with eggs and a few grapes. Hope you enjoy. Our next question is from Matt C, and he says, how do you keep your motivation for bigger projects? I love the idea of making big blankets and jumpers, but I always end up with this half-finished stuff. Matt, I feel your pain. As somebody who always has whips on the go, there are always a couple that are kind of stashed in the bottom of my closet, but if you are looking for ways to push through those bigger projects, I have 3 recommendations. The first one is to set a deadline for your project up front. So if I know that I am working on this shawl like I have here, and I want to finish in 2 weeks because I'm going to take photos and share it and update the pattern and all that good stuff, I will set that timeline for myself. My second recommendation is to do speed tests. So these are a personal thing I like to do for myself, where I'll sit down just like this and I will set my phone with a timer for maybe 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. And if I can push through crocheting for that entire timer, I'll then reward myself. So maybe I'll buy a skein of yarn or have a small glass of wine or eat the Reese cups I've been stashing. But the speed test really helped me to push through the project. And it's not like I'll love the process any less. I'll just be looking forward to being done. And then my last recommendation is to find your accountability. So this might be somebody else who's working on a project. Often my accountability is sharing things on my social media. I know when I share things in my stories and talk about how excited I am for this new project, folks are going going to start following my progress. So they're going to want to know what happened to that blanket I was working on last week, or that sweater that I started back in February. So I use social media as kind of my accountability partner, and it typically works out pretty well. I hope some of these recommendations help because I got a lot of questions about motivation. So maybe I'll explore this further later as well. So after just about a half hour, I made some pretty good progress on my shawl. This yarn definitely takes some getting used to because it's so thin and it's also very loosely spun, if spun at all, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's got some really good stretch and drape to it. It's gonna end up being pretty big, so I'm really excited to see how far I can get with this cake. So A1 on twirls. I'm excited to use it so far. Well, I had a really good time hanging out with you guys, and thank you so much for asking the questions that you did. There were over 200 questions on that one post that I put up. So if you guys are interested in doing this again, maybe I'll answer a few more questions. Make sure you hit that like button and let me know for sure down in the comments. And if you didn't get a chance to ask a question on that post, make sure you drop it down in the comments now. Before we go, of course, we have to dedicate this cup of caffeine to our friend Dorina. Thank you so much for your donation. You're gonna keep me caffeinated for a while, honey. And if you enjoy my videos and want to support my channel, buy me a coffee. Who knows? I might shout you out in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.